Okay, so I've rebuilt and redesigned the basket here for catching the potatoes. That's the old one. It's a little skinnier, a little longer. Things are different. This one, I wanted it to be deeper because that one had a problem. It was only 6 inches deep. And the potatoes would kind of get caught here and we had to push them back. Well, this one, it's much deeper and they're going to fall in. Why is it so big? Well, there'll be no screen here, but there will be a screen back here, and it dumps like this into the trailer. So I've redesigned the whole thing and put the hinge down lower so that the center of the weight is down lower, and it'll be easier to tip over. It's a little wider, should hold more potatoes without somebody having to get in here and push the potatoes back. The distance in here is less, so the small potatoes won't drop on the ground. It should be a better design, working better overall. Last time we probably picked up like maybe 70% of the potatoes, and I want to pick them all up. Of course, we're not going to be able to pick them all up because it just doesn't work that way. So I'm thinking we're going to get 90% or better. That's what I'm shooting for. Also, I think I might make some sort of funnel kind of thing up here so that we can pour them into a sack. And hopefully we'll cut out a lot of extra work by doing that.
Yeah. So explain again why these sides here are so high.
Well, it's at the correct weight for being down in the dirt 6 inches. Okay, so think of this as being 6 inches lower, and that's the working height. That's as low as it's going to be. So why is it up so high? Because the potatoes are going to be jumping in at this level, and I don't want them falling out.
Bouncing out, yeah.
Bouncing out. So the sides are all bigger. The front is not any bigger really, maybe a little bit, but it's all so that they pour out better. And again, I'm going to make some sort of funnel thing back here that makes them able to go into a sack. One of the things is that with the old one, we poured them into the trailer. And the tractor was able to lift it up high enough that we could just dump it directly into the trailer. And although that's kind of a good idea, once we got back here, we had to then roll them all out of the trailer, which didn't work so well. So if we put them into a sack, now we can put them on the trailer. Oh yeah. Another thing is with the old one, I had to drive over to the trailer all the time. Well, with this one, dumping into sacks, we can take the sack full of potatoes and move it to the trailer instead of actually, I'm forgetting all these details. Okay, so we're gonna fill up the sack, set it there, and then once we're done, we'll bring the trailer back around to the potatoes and pick them up. So there's not gonna be me driving back and forth. There's not gonna be anybody that has to pick up the potatoes off the ground, maybe a few. It's going to work much better.
Yeah, because one of the things is you took the tractor and the other basket over to the trailer every time. You kind of squished some of the rows, which broke some of the potatoes. Not a big thing, but for us, every potato counts. Yeah.
Well, for Laura, every potato counts. For me, there's got to be some casualties along the way. That's just the way it is in a garden.
Yeah.
I don't mind running over a few potatoes because all it really does is smash them down into the dirt more. It compacts all the dirt. Sometimes it does smash the potatoes, but most of the time it just compacts all the dirt and the potato together. And this thing's powerful enough to dig them back out, so I'm not so worried about that.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do is drive the tractor back and forth.
All that fuel.
In our little field here, it wasn't so bad because the trailer was nearby. Well, in the other field, it's not going to work that way. It's pretty long and kind of wide, so to have to drive back and forth every time this is full, that's not going to work out. I want a helper to bring the bag to the trailer, maybe even set them out on the field every so often, and once this gets full, probably about half full, we'll dump it into the bag, which will probably be almost all the way full and heavy enough that one man can still move them. So again, the plan should work much better. And I've given it a different hinge here. This hinge is much stronger. I used a bolt before because it was quick and easy, and that one was much lighter to use. But this hinge is much better. Everything about this, I think, should work better.
So what do you have left to do on this?
I have to put some metal, kind of like a basket, along here. One here, 2, 3, maybe 4 along here, and then I have to put same thing on each side to support the wire mesh that is inside. You can see I did the same thing here. I put these flat pieces of metal in here to support the bag so that when the potatoes are pushing on it, it's gonna push the wire mesh out. It's gonna make it bulge, but there needs to be something there to kind of support it so that it doesn't go too far. And that's all I have to do that's left.
So that welding, and then you put in the mesh.
Yeah.
So we're hoping next week when we have some sunshine for a couple days that we'll be able to get out there and harvest the last of our potatoes.
Yeah, the problem is we're getting late in the year, it's fall now, and the potatoes need to come out of the dirt. So if we get a bunch of rain and then it stops, of course, we need a couple of days of nice, good, warm, hot sun to dry out the dirt. Because if the dirt's not dried out, it's not going to fall through. Okay, our field here is actually dirt, and the field that we're going to is more sandy. So it should fall through better, but again, too much water is going to be a problem.
And usually in August and September it's very hot, very dry, but this year we've had lots of rain in both months, which has just really mixed up everybody's ability to harvest a lot of things.
We're also, I'm hoping that there's going to be a grandma summer, babalit. Basically, it's an Indian summer. A American variant is Indian summer. Ukrainian variant is grandma summer.
Where it gets warms up for a week or two.
Yeah, a week or two, it warms up, nice sunshine, everybody complains, and then it's cold again.
So we're also hoping that if this works really well with the potatoes, that we can use it for the red beets and maybe the white beets. The white beets might be a little bit too big, but we'll see. Yeah.
And garlic and onions could be dug
next
up
year
because they kind of are right at the top of the surface of the dirt.
Yeah.
But I think that once the neighbors see me with this, they're all the men on tractors are going to want to see this because many of the men on tractors they have this part of the machine that digs up the potatoes, but it leaves it all on the ground. So with something like this that picks up the potatoes, what is that worth?
Oh.
So that grandma doesn't have to get out there with her 5 grandsons and work for 5 days picking up all the potatoes.
Yeah.
This will pick them up.
Well, and it's kind of funny here in the village when we got this new tractor, or actually when you got the mini tractor monoblock, some other guys in the village got one and they drive by and kind of wave and say, look, I got one too. And then we were able to get this tractor in March of 2020, and then some of those same men drove by in tractors very similar and waved. So it's kind of like keeping up with the Joneses, but it's also kind of this camaraderie of we've all got the similar tractors now. We're all stepping up in life, you know.
A lot of the men with small tractors like mine, they have this digger, and they charge the neighbors for pulling the potatoes out of the dirt. But they don't have a catcher. They got grandma and 5 grandkids and anybody else they can find to come and pull them out of the dirt.
Yeah.
So, or pick them up off the dirt, off the ground, the top of the ground. But this will work much better.
Well, like our neighbor, she had probably about 10 family members out there when the tractor came and dug up all her potatoes. And they got the majority of them that day, but I've seen her for 3, 4, 5 more days out there picking up the rest. So her family probably picked up just the big eating potatoes and left all the other small stuff for her to pick up. But she's been doing it, every day.
A little here, a little there.
And the same space in our garden, with
Good
3 of
boy.
us, we did in 3 hours, all of it picked up. Yeah, so it's definitely an improvement. So Mark might have a little business here making some of these baskets.
I'm not making them. I'm only going to let them come and measure it and make it themselves.
Design it, yeah.